Sonic X Episode 35. Hey, Sonic sells an underwater bubble. That's original. And Prison Island's got a laser detection system and security cameras. And the prison guard brags that Sonic will never escape it. This is all pretty original. And I love that the guy next to the warden believes Sonic's innocent. They keep thinking to do that. Tanaka tells Chris in the plane that they can't get too close to the island because of the radar, and he says that they'll be looking for motorboats. But a duck-shaped boat that's pedaled by them won't be suspected. How does he think that? Sure, it looks silly for forced comedy relief, but shouldn't it be obvious the only reason the boat would ever come up here would be to organize a prison break? Of course, the warden sounds the alarm, and surprisingly the system goes haywire, and there's a jamming as we see the Eggmobile. Eggman wonders if he's pushing his luck breaking into the place a second time, and it's even told to him that they upgraded the security system. He plans to break in and get the Chaos Emeralds for the Eclipse Cannon. Oh, and now Rouge and Shadow are suddenly here with him when I thought he was alone. That's sloppy. They really wanted to accurately rip off a game cutscene. And Eggman looks like an idiot because his dumb robot sidekicks immediately warn him that Rouge wants to steal the emeralds for herself, and he shouldn't trust her. And he doesn't believe them, it just shuts the communications off! Eggman was taken completely seriously in SA2, but this moment really humiliates his character and makes him look like a complete idiot because he was warned, and for no reason, he trusts Rouge anyways. Compare this to the original cutscene. Why would he trust a regular Mobian to want to help him conquer the world anyways? That was always stupid of him. He avoids some robots shooting lasers at him with his Eggmobile. At least this is original compared to him going around the pier in the Egg Walker. But I would have liked to know what he was planning to have accomplished by doing that. Amy hugs Shadow from behind. And no, Flynn, the sun wasn't in her eyes. All I saw was her hug him because she somehow thought he was Sonic. Shadow doesn't even turn around to face her for some reason. Because fuck having a natural reaction. He doesn't even emote! He's like a robot. You'd think her hugging him would remind him of Maria right away. And Eggman keeps avoiding the planes as Amy stares into a hole in the wall and runs into it. Wait, what created that hole? Was it Eggman's fault? It's hard for the show to keep my attention when it's completely ripping off a story I already saw. I feel like I don't need to watch it. So the only reason I'm even reviewing these episodes at all is because it'd be sloppy and unprofessional if I skipped out on them, adaptation or not. I mean, I gotta review them. I just wish they were original. Rouge avoids a laser security system with ease and says she can feel the emeralds here. I hope this means she has a radar on her. And she easily cracks the code right away with no explanation. I guess this Rouge has had years of hacking experience from college. Seeing Eggman avoid the same type of laser over and over for minutes on end is kind of boring. Eggman tells Tails that he didn't win, and flies away from him looking like a weak, pathetic villain running away from danger. And he wants to see what Shadow and Rouge are up to. You know, I really don't know why a show produced by Sega doesn't play the music from the game when it's adapting the game for a TV show. Because you'd think Sega would own the copyright to that music and give it to the show. It's in their own game. But instead it's all generic music that's completely forgettable, which doesn't create the right impression. Even in Sonic Underground, I was constantly pointing out how great the background music was. Not here. Amy gets to Sonic's cell in a moving submarine. Sure was convenient that she even had access to that, but I guess it had to exist to get Sonic here in the first place. Because Sonic's escape was detected, I guess with motion sensors, a robot called Flying Dog is sent after Sonic, and somehow the warden's friend says that not every trespasser to a prison island is dangerous. That feels forced, as does the warden being such an enthusiastic nut. Amy smacks the robot over and over and defeats it with her hammer, and Sonic's impressed because she wasn't a wuss for once. It's sad that I was impressed by this, since Amy fighting badniks in Fleetway is normal. Sonic says he let himself get dragged to prison so we could learn something about Shadow. That's basically what he said in the Japanese script of SA2. And it feels Gary Stewish because, we can't let Sonic have a flaw and be vulnerable. We have to make it all part of his plan. Amy asks Sonic if he'll take her out to go have pizza or a movie if she breaks him out, which is better than her asking him for marriage. And she gives him info about Shadow working for Eggman because she likes him. I looked away for a few seconds while typing this review, and already Sonic had broke out of the cell. I had to literally go back in the video to see what he did. He just jumped towards the bars. That makes total sense. He totally wouldn't just bonk his head and chest on them. Of course it wouldn't have mattered if he broke out before Amy brought the submarines in to let him go free because he'd just be trapped anyways. But come on, Amy kept talking about how she was gonna break the bars with her hammer. And for fuck's sake, Sonic's such a Gary Stu that he broke out himself. So apparently when Amy said that her love for him would give her strength to break the bars with a hammer, she was being portrayed as wrong when she has a hammer. And she destroyed a giant robot with the hammer. I hated that when he said she couldn't break the bars with her hammer. He was right. So much for her being useful. This show really has a vendetta against Amy being competent. That's horrible for an action series. She's portrayed as spunky and feisty, but she's not actually allowed to be competent most of the time. So she's just a joke. She's the definition of a faux action girl. Because she talks all feisty, but she's just pathetic. Which does more harm than good. What's so hard about just letting a character with a hammer break the bars of the cell? Why didn't Sonic do this way earlier? He reunites Amy with Tanaka and Chris, I guess to explain how she escaped the island, and Rouge is amused at Flying Dog challenging her and constantly jumps on it avoiding lasers. That does make way more sense to damage a robot than flying into it with her hands in front of her, but it's still really stupid that it damaged a metal robot. Sonic and Shadow keep jumping around as Rouge keeps damaging the robot with her own weight, and she kicks it away and it explodes way too easily. Then she sighs sadly because she's trapped in a vault about to blow up. As Shadow keeps kicking at Sonic, Rouge tells him about her situation, and he says he's too busy right now to artificially drag out him deciding to help. So are the Chaos Emeralds immune to a vault exploding? I guess the people of Prison Island are planning on that, or otherwise don't care if the emeralds get destroyed. Sonic says he has to get everyone off the island before it blows up, as Chris spots Shadow, who plans to go get the Chaos Emeralds. It feels like an OC self-insert fanfiction that Chris is just arbitrarily here to spot Shadow. And the reason I say this is that Chris doesn't do anything that matters. He talks and that's it. They don't have the guts to have him doing anything important that wouldn't be done by some game character anyways, because that would be original. So this is just a really pointless change. Chris hugs Shadow as he teleports away, and Tanaka's naturally worried. Shadow pushes Chris away to get the emeralds from Rouge, and she asks him if he's going to leave Chris to die. Chris says they have to get Sonic off the island, as I wonder why he's letting him talk, since he just said he doesn't care what happens to him. He says please, and Shadow's naturally reminded of Maria because she's a human too. So he warps Chris away with Rouge, not even trying to help Sonic like Chris clearly said he'd do. So he cares about him enough to save his life, not enough to do what he said. And the island blows up without us seeing Sonic get to the tornado and escape beforehand, because priorities, what's that? And it's good that Tanaka is worried about Chris when the island blows up. It's good that they emphasize how much he cares about protecting him, since that's a part of his character, and he'd feel like he had no personality without these character moments. But he clearly saw Chris get teleported away with Shadow. Then again, how's he supposed to know Shadow arbitrarily didn't kill Chris right away? Shadow's trying to destroy the world, so you'd think he wouldn't bother saving Chris, if he's planning on destroying the world anyways, which would make him die of starvation on the Ark at best. And like the Ark's planning to crash into the world, so he wouldn't be able to live on the Ark either. So this episode was about Sonic's escape from Prison Island. I love that they had Sonic in an underwater isolation chamber. It perfectly explains why he didn't just break out the cell himself in the game, since he can apparently do that instead of Amy breaking him out like in the actual game. Seriously, this adaptation is gonna rob Amy of literally everything she contributed to Sonic Adventure 2. She won't be the one to talk Shadow into being good either. But anyways, Sonic needed Amy to escape because she used a submarine to get to his cell, so that explains his breakout better, and that's how it should have been in the game. It also makes more sense that she didn't just get a random card key to free Sonic out of nowhere, because in the game, it was never explained how she even got it. The prison warden was way too enthusiastic about keeping Sonic in prison to be believable. I'd expect wardens to be all stone serious, not cartoon villains. And while it was original that Eggman was simply flying in the sky with his Eggmobile avoiding lasers, it wasn't interesting to watch since it was just him avoiding lasers over and over, and I bet that was easy to animate. But it does make a lot more sense that he tried to infiltrate the island and failed because of the security system and took off. It makes more sense because what did him going through his mech level even accomplish in the story of the game? It was also refreshing that Chris was with Shadow when he teleported to Rouge, and Rouge acknowledged his presence, and Shadow is guilted into saving him. It gives him some depth, which is the vital key to him not being another boringly one-dimensional bad guy, which the series has way too much of as it is. But most of what was original didn't matter enough to be refreshing. The overall plot was exactly the same. Did it really matter that Chris and Tanaka came to Prison Island? They didn't do anything, so who cares? It felt like an OC fanfiction. Sure, it's realistic that they can't do anything, but that's not how you write an action series. I at least loved that Rouge got a whole bunch of hits in on Flying Dog to defeat it, and it made more sense that it was defeated by her jumping on it than her gliding into it and somehow hurting it. So all in all, this was a surprisingly good episode, but mostly just because it tried to be original a little and have an action scene that was worth something.